Cemetery Sunday. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm at the Spruce Creek Cemetery, Port Orange, Florida. Located right at the Spruce Creek fly-in here at the airport. It's an old cemetery back from when this place was established, the settlement of Spruce Creek in the 1880s. This cemetery has been on my bucket list now for quite a few years. I didn't think I'd be able to get in here because it's in the middle of a gated community, a fly-in, lots of homes. But it's open to the public. Walking over here now, right in this corner is the oldest part, the historic area of the cemetery. Definitely check some of these old tombstones out. Oldest graves right here. A little bit of history that this airport that's right next to this cemetery was built during World War II by the Navy. Although the cemetery existed long before the airport. Lots of the headstones in here are destroyed, unmarked. Lots of these headstones right here in front of me right now are the children, 12 children to be exact, of Isabel Smith. They were all stillborn and buried next to their mother. She only had 5 children that lived. And right here, this bricked raised grave is the grave of Isabella Smith. Broken. She was born May 5th, 1867. And died February 20th, 1937. A tender mother and a faithful friend. And right next to her are the 12 children. Let's get up close to some of these. Hard to read. Been here for a long time. Infant daughter. (1908). Pretty crazy to have that many stillborn babies and even keep having babies, but maybe back then it was quite normal. Infant daughter. Can't read the year, but all these years they're pretty close together, so you know, almost every year she was having a baby. Infant daughter, Isabella Smith, 1902. And then you can see some of them over here broken, almost fallen over. Infant son, Smith, February maybe 10th or 16th of 1900. Wow, so they're getting older now. So yeah, no, the dates of her children passing are getting older, back into the 1800s now. Here's one of them, unreadable. It's just a rubble of broken tombstone. And then the one that's fallen over. Lots of them have big cracks too, so they've been repaired. We'll go back over here. The infant son, Mr. and Mrs. J.N.B. Smith. September 11th, 1899 on that one. So yeah, they kept trying to have a baby. And now to the very last row. This one, infant son, 1891. And then an infant daughter. Wow, that gravestone's been repaired so much. I think it says 1893. So wow, lots of, I guess it was stillborn deaths of Isabella Smith right here. A little bit of cool history here. That the Cortland family rest here too, but their headstones aren't anywhere to be found. So they're unmarked, lost. But a cool story about them, or a fascinating one, was that Mr. Cortland had been murdered, found shot dead, near a farmstead that his father owned, kind of in the area. He'd been searching for cattle. The shooter waited for him behind a bush, and the killer, later identified as Fred Tedder, a friend of Cortland's, who claimed he discovered his body. But the tricky thing was, Tedder, the friend, was having an affair with Cortland's wife. So he pretty much got caught for it. It says this was back in the 1930s. Tedder was convicted and tried on the murder. He was pardoned by Florida's governor at that time. Once freed, Tedder and Cortland's wife, Rhoda, moved to Defuniak Springs, Florida, up in the Panhandle. Pretty crazy. A little bit of history here. I was just reading it. Interesting facts that that family's buried here too, but their names aren't here, or they just can't be found anymore, because there's a lot of them, headstones that look like this. So yeah, right next to Isabella Smith, the mother, her grave is more of the Smith family. That's what I'm talking about. You hear small engine planes taking off from the runway here, right next to this cemetery. But this would be Hattie, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. N.J.B. Smith, February 16th to 1892 to January 31st, 1934. The faithful are certain of their reward. Wow, this is a beautiful cemetery. Lots of historic graves. Man, and that's the ones I love to visit. Right here, another row. one of the first settlers in the area, the Tedder family. This one is of Ruth Tedder, 1899, I'm gonna say, to 1904. Very, very hard to read. And then a much easier one to read from the Tedder family, Richard Tedder, born November 10th, 1901. And he died August 18th, 1908. Not that old. And another older grave from the Tedder family, Louisa Tedder, March 1st, 1839, June 4th, 1913. Let's take a walk over here. I believe it's more of the Tedder family. Pretty big family. Definitely been here a very long time in the area. Ruthie Tedder, 1899 to 1904. Which she didn't live many years either. And Lula Tedder, the wife of John L. Tedder, born in 1882, and she passed away in 1908. The infant, B.M. Morris. Quite a few CSA graves, Confederate States, the Civil War. This one for William Jones, 2nd Florida Infantry. Jane Metz, 1927, aged 77. We will meet again. Quite a few of the older graves right here in this area as well. This one looks like it has been painted and then somebody wrote on it with a Sharpie marker the name. So hard to read. It's kind of worn off, but it looks originally like everything was written into the concrete tombstone. They were born in 1892 and passed away in 1911. Let's go down the row and see if we can make out what their family was here. This one's the same way. Very worn away. 1898. Kind of gives me the vibes of the Spruce Creek Cemetery in Ormond Beach, and that's kind of the same kind of cemetery right in the middle of a community like this, except that's, I think, Spruce Creek and Priest Creek. This is Spruce Creek, same county, not too far away from each other. But back then, the pioneers that came down to Florida, you know, they always stuck near the water, fresh water source. And here's a name I recognize in the Volusia area, the Bennett family. I believe this would have said Mary Bennett, but the rest is worn away. And yes, definitely was the Bennett family. Here's a very beautiful one. Musson Jesse Bennett. Jurgens. Wow. The Florida War. That's something right there. Something interesting about this tombstone. Oh, I hear that. That's a bigger plane going off there. Can't see it though. The runway's right over there past the wood line. So barely see them through the woods. But anyways, this one for Jack B. Banks. Jack was born in 1851 and passed away in 1923. But if you look the front of his tombstone here, does this look like somebody shot it with bullets? Like a gun. I mean, it could have been, even right here on the corner, could have been from further away. But yeah, it really looks like something shot this tombstone in spots here. You never know. It's been here since 1923. And then right next to Jack is Sarah Banks. And she was born in 1852 and passed away in 1912. Beautiful, beautiful marble white grave. And her epitaph says, "Sleeping in heaven." Another Confederate States Army veterans grave. John Allen Jackson, Florida. Private. In the CSA. 1837 to 1895. Fascinating little cemetery. Got another Confederate States Army gravestone for Moses Manning, 7 Florida Infantry. We'd get real close, kind of in the shade on this one. Those little CSA tombstones, they always look great, even after so long. Definitely some older ones over here. Look at that. Looks to say Juno Butler. CCC or COC. 3rd Michigan Infantry. Right next to him, very familiar last name, Clarence Leon Clifton, Florida. I've actually been to a Clifton cemetery not far from here. He was in the World War II, born 1904, passed away in 1954. So fascinating place. Lots of graves from the 1800s and early 1900s. This one of Hattie, wife of L.S. White. Hattie was born in 1874 and died in 1917. A loved one from us has gone. A voice we love is stilled. A place is vacant in our home, which never can be filled. Thanks for joining me on Cemetery Sunday from the Spruce Creek Cemetery, Port Orange, Florida, the historic side. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.